Hello everyone, Jordan here, and today we have another Minecraft video. Today we're going to be showcasing a Sun Country Tide Pod or new livery 737-800, and as you can see we have two of them since one of them has a mismatch nose cone. Anyways, if you stick around, we're going to talk about the quick history of this aircraft and its reg, and then do a quick showcase of all the features we've included in details. So, without further ado, let's begin. Oh, and before I start the showcase, if you'd like to join our Discord server, you can click on the link in the description where we showcase and preview all of our liveries. I had posted renders of this, I think, a few hours prior to it in case anyone wanted to see it. But again, links in the description to our Discord server if you want to take a gander at what we're doing. Anyways, to start, we have Sun Country's Tide Pod livery, and right now we're recreating the aircraft November 831 Sierra Yankee, which is a leased aircraft from AerCap and is an 18-year-old 737 that was first delivered in 2002. This aircraft has been through quite a lot of operators. It's gone through American Transair, ACA, Saga, and Aeromexico, but right now it's in Sun Country's possession. Well, it's being leased to Sun Country, although Sun Country has made it pretty evident that they're starting to own aircraft now and really kind of build the foundations of a strong airline. Anyways, as you can see though, this aircraft is with a mismatched nose cone, and I thought that was really interesting, and I wanted to kind of like put that in when I was googling some reference pictures, because it's like you just like don't see this in Minecraft all that much, mismatched nose cones, cowlings, and all that, even though this happens very frequently in the real world. Another interesting thing, like this exact reg actually had like a mismatched engine cover that was completely white and everything, and I just wanted to do that because, you know, you don't really see it that often. But I digress. Let's begin. As you can see over here at the front of the aircraft, we have a mismatched nose cone from their previous livery. You know, again, these are interchangeable parts. All they do, all maintenance does is just take it, put it on, and we're good to go. But as you can see, we have the cockpit of the 737. We have the sensors right here, the AOA sensors, pitot tubes, all of that. Down here we have the landing gear doors, and we have the landing gear itself right here. As you can see, we made it with the strut so it mimics the older 73s, and I'll get into more detail later about that. As you can see that this is an older 73, not a newer one. But as you can see, we just have the little sticker, we have the registration right here, and then we have the cockpit windows. We also have little windshield wipers indicated by buttons right there, and then we have the forward L1 door. Sun Country text is written out here in a billboard style, and it looks pretty nice. I like how it looks. And we also have some details such as static ports right here and right here. We have the engine intake hazard warning right here, as you can see. Some airlines opt for this, some airlines don't. Sun Country has, and it's basically just to warn you that the engines are right there. We also have on the underside some little details. Southwest has these, they paint theirs white. Delta, I think, paints theirs gray. You know, different airlines have different configs, but this is what Sun Country has on theirs. We have a little fin down here. And moving on, again, since this is not a newer 737 NG with the performance improvement package, we have a lot of older features like the halogen lights right here that swing down. We also have a little intake right here, and to kind of further solidify that this is an older 73, we have glowstone instead of a sea lantern, and this is like a darker, more yellow-like tint because these are the halogen lights rather than the LED lights on the newer ones. Anyways, my apologies about that. I had to make a quick edit. Anyways, we have these CFM56 engines right here, marked by the little, again, red hazard line and some engine warnings. Sun Country has theirs with a white background. We have the no step warning and the engine intake information in case you need to do a ground start as well from there. The 73s also have like a little vent down here, but again, in this scale, it's like, if this was a bigger scale, I could actually make the vent, but this is all I can do right here. We have the exhaust nozzle of the engine, and as you can see, we have the internals of the engine as well, right there with the different stages for combustion. We have the pylon right here. We have the landing gear with the landing gear door. Anyways, my apologies about that cut there, but as I can continue, Sun Country is one of the airlines where they have a wing marking that extends all the way out. Now this is kind of like the no step or no hazard zone, and for comparison on airlines like Southwest, they'll cut it off right here where it's just this little box right here, but on airlines such as Sun Country, Ryanair, and different airlines, they'll extend it out all the way to here. Now again, this is just customer preference. It doesn't really matter anything. It's just a little cool thing that different 73 operators do. But as you can see, it's just this little black outline that you've probably seen numerous times whenever you're flying on 73s, and it extends all the way out to here. And as you can see, we have the underside portion of it as well. Now, anyways, this is where the cool stuff starts to go through. We have the overwing exit right here. I'm sorry, well, the exit outline and the exits themselves here. This is just the diagram to evacuate in case you do need to. A little fun fact about this as well, if you've ever seen any cockpit sim training videos or whatnot, it's usually standard operating procedures where if you ever have to make a stop or you're planning an evacuation, you always go flaps 40 as soon as you stop because there's no escape slide here. You actually go down the flaps because the 7.3 itself is so low to the ground that flaps 40 puts you kind of right there, you know, to ground level, and it kind of acts as like a little slide on its own. But it's really cool if you ever watch some sim pilots do some training and they have to stop for an evacuation, they'll always go flaps 40, and then you can notice and you wonder like, why are you lowering the flaps on the ground? This is why. Anyways, to continue though, we have a little hook right here because if you open the exits right here, there's a little string that you can pull out and tie it down to this that passengers can hold down on if they need to evacuate onto the wing. Anyways, though, to continue, we have the flaps right here, and we have the 3 flap track fairings right here, or the little canoes as they're commonly referred to. We have the flaps, yeah, these are the flaps, so my apologies. And over here at the end, we have the ailerons themselves right here. And interesting again, the 7.3, like compared to newer Boeing jets and newer jets in general, the ailerons don't extend all the way out to here. They kind of end off right here, whereas newer jets, as you've probably noticed, the ailerons extend out usually further. But anyways, I digress. We have the slats indicated by the gray markings right here. And over here we have the winglet with the wing lights right here. Now another cool thing about 7.3 winglets and just winglets in previous old builds was that the winglets actually like shape into the wing. And this is something that Miles pointed out that he was very right about because, you know, winglets in general, this entire assembly comes off and is like interchangeable. So the winglet actually like curves into the wing and is actually like a part of the wing for a little bit. So that's really interesting. But as you can see, we have some diagrams. The Sun Country has like a topography map on their 7.3s. Now in reality it's much thinner than this, but I just wanted to make sure we had some hints of it, some squiggles on the line. It's just a light blue color, and it's just a really cool design that Sun Country's put into their 7.3. Anyways, to continue with the wing itself in this portion of the aircraft, this is a little flat paneling. It's really just so that the flaps don't really mark up the fuselage when they're going up and down. We have the landing gear struts themselves with the gear, the hubcaps, as I mentioned previously, the little gear door that swings in with it. Alright, the hydraulic shocks for, you know, when you land. And here is the landing gear wheel well. It's very messy and very cluttered. The 7.3 has a notoriously like messy gear bay. It's like it works, but it's also very messy. And you would think that this is something that doesn't happen very often, but if you've ever seen the A220's landing gear bay, it's like this as well. And I thought that was interesting. But again, as I digress, a really complicated gear bay because they have a bunch of hydraulic lines and pneumatic systems all around here and stuff. So yeah, really cool. But as again, we have the beacon light under here, we have some vents right here, and we have some other details there. Again, similar to the 747 video when I mentioned that Boeing airliners usually have little indents, this is what I'm talking about on the underside. Another cool thing on this performance improvement package, they actually have a different design for these vents down here, but because this is not a PIP aircraft, we're going to leave them like this. We have some more fins here at the back of the aircraft, and then this is where the topography map kind of really comes in on Sun Country. And I can post, I probably have already posted a picture of what this livery looks like, but these are all the little squiggle lines at the back of the aircraft. We have the text where it states Boeing 737. This is actually gray, but quite frankly, I don't have a gray texture for this yet, so I have it black. We have the registration right here, as well as the American flag. And as we come to the L4 exit right here, this is the aft exit of the aircraft. We have another little fin right here, the door plates, the horizontal stabilizers themselves right here. We have some, oh lord, I forget the term for this. It's Vortex Generators. That's what these are. My apologies. Little Vortex Generators here at the back of the aircraft. I think the Max got rid of these. It's interesting because Boeing like put them on, got rid of them, and then put them on again. But as far as I believe, the Max does not have Vortex Generators, but I can check and post a picture on that and just put a caption there. Anyway, this tail was initially done by Michael, but then Dush came back and improved it, so great job on those two guys' part. Excellent job with the little design right here. But we have the little swoosh right here of the orange, a really kind of like modern take on the Euro white, if I may, livery design, because quite frankly almost every airline has, you know, the tail design swoop in, but Sun Country like put a cool twist on it where it just, you know, swoops down but then comes back up. Really cool. Anyway though, right here what there should be, I don't know why it's not, but I'll put it down, are the these are, oh nope, it's like that. And no, it was like this. Yeah, it's like this. My apologies about that, but what this is basically the stabilizer trim indicators, which shows you how high the horizontal stabilizers are trimmed up or down to. But to move on, we have the actual plate where the trim moves up and down. We have the APU right here, or auxiliary power unit. We have a little tail skid device, which is on the longer 7.3s. So 7.3s such as the 300s, 700s, these don't have them because they don't really need them, because the aircraft is short enough where tail strikes aren't that much of an issue. But on the 800, 400, 900, most certainly Max 8, 9, 10, they all have these, and these are just little indicators that'll kind of stick out and kind of prevent the aircraft from really tail striking itself. And there's a little sensor at the back of it. I can't really like put it in this scale, but there's a little sensor with a little green and a little red, and depending on how much you can see of the red or green, it'll tell you if this aircraft is good to fly or you need to replace the part and all of that. It's a really cool, simple way of kind of seeing if the aircraft is, you know, not suffering from any tail strikes. But to move on this side of the aircraft, we have an Apu Air Intake. So if you've ever wondered where the airflow for the APU comes from, it comes from right here on the side. That's that little thing that sticks out. And usually during engine start, takeoff, and all of that, this little thing actually like moves open. And yeah, on the Max, it's actually like a complete like box-like door, but on these older 7.3s, it's a little shape like this. Anyways, though, kind of symmetrical tail. We have, again, the R4 exit right here, registration, Boeing 737 text, and this is where the Aft Cargo Bay is, so I can go, I think, GMSP? Yeah, we can. And as you can see, this is the Aft Cargo Bay, much smaller than the 7.4 that we toured in the previous videos, but as you can see, Aft Cargo Bay right there, GMC. And yeah, pretty much the exact same thing on this side of the aircraft as well, though. Beacon light on top with another fin, some little details right there, another fin there, and yeah. Oh, before I forget to mention, there's also static wicks on top of this aircraft. Well, on top of the tail right there, as well as static wicks on the horizontal stabilizer. Yeah, horizontal stabilizers. I didn't mention these. That's very odd. Well, here they are, and here's the elevator portion that actually moves up and down, as marked by the little stone outline. But as I was saying, though, if we go back to the front of the aircraft, as you can see, we have the forward cargo bay, and you know, it's really the same thing. It's not very big, but it does the job right there. And that's actually kind of it. And you know, here's the L1 exit, and here's the rest of the nose as well. That is pretty much it for the exterior portion of the aircraft. So without further ado, we can go inside the aircraft and take a look on the interior. Alright, so this is the interior of the 737 for Sun Country, and as you can see, again, this does not have the Boeing Sky Interior, because as far as I'm concerned or aware, the airline has not retrofitted it for that. And more importantly, again, this is a 20-year-old 7.3, so Sky Interior wasn't a thing at the time. But before I proceed any further, I want to give a huge shout out and credit to Miles, who ended up doing this interior. Splendid job doing it. Looks great. But as we can continue, Sun Country has moved to a kind of a low-fare budget airline-like layout with a all-economy system. It looks nice, it looks comfortable enough. As you can see, and as you've probably heard, a lot of airlines are starting to have to go into a low-fare or budget-like system in order to remain competitive, as you know, low-cost carriers are really starting to come back on the rise. But as I continue, we have a little forward galley right here. We have the cockpit door, flight attendant jump seat, the L1 and R1 doors right here, a little divider right here. In reality, there's like galleys and stuff right here, but there's no way I can like fit this in right there. But as we can continue, it's really just all economy. These seats are like a dark blue, and this headrest is like a mix of dark blue and grayish, and Miles and I thought gray would be the best color that's appropriate for it. On top of these seats, or outlined in the headrest, it's a little orange for Sun Country, which is a nice little touch, but as you can see right here, I kind of can't put orange all the way over, so we have to just put it right here. But at the back of it, we just have tray tables. Unfortunately, no in-flight entertainment, but tray tables, and that's kind of really it for these seats. All economy all the way through. If we go over here, here's the overwing exits, and actually this seat should be removed because on the 800s it's like this. We have the little overwing or exit, or you know, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I haven't taken Spanish in a few years, and I don't want to risk sounding retarded, so I'm going to leave it there. But the exit sign right there. If we move to the back of the aircraft, we have rear lavatories right here and a rear galley for the flight crew. There's also, again, a jump seat right here, and I believe right here as well, but I don't have the space for that, so yeah. Here's the rear galley. Again, the rear exits right here, and yeah, really simple interior, not much really show on it. It's not like the 7.4 where it's just, you know, aisles and aisles of interesting stuff, but we can move to the flight deck, so let's go through here. And here's the cockpit of the 7.3. We have the, oh, I did not mean to take a screenshot. My apologies. We have the yokes. We have the main control panel. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, this is the main panel right here. Rudder pedals. This is where the throttle quadrant would be. The main center pedestal, the overhead panel, and the just divider right here. Circuit breaker is also like back here, which I tried to show. They also have a little closet. It's a weird thing to describe right here. Let me go and create it, by the way. Right here, it's like a mix. There's a closet. The circuit breaker is here, but there's also like a little shelf or closet where pilots can hang up their clothing. And back here, again, it's another circuit breaker. But again, I don't have the space to show this. But if you remember in the 747 video when I mentioned that there is a bookshelf on the side for the flight crew's manuals and operating stuff on the aircraft, on the 737, it's like down here. It's like right here. But on all the other Boeing jets, it's back there. So cool little feature there, but again, a very simple cockpit. A lot of people call it cramped, and it kind of is, but I'm a weird person where I like small, kind of tight cockpits, so I never really, this really like never bothered me, but yeah, 7.3 cockpit, as you can see, and pretty simple. As again, lights are right here, and then all of that. There's no real point in me going over where different systems on the 7.3 cockpit are because it's so small, but you know, you've got fuel pumps and hydraulics over here, you've got like electrics over here, and and pressurization and pneumatics on this side and all of that. But yeah, that's actually kind of most of the interior. That's actually all of the interior, but we are not done, not just yet. If you go over to the aircraft behind you, as you can see, this is the aircraft in its normal state where the nose cone is painted with the matching color. And again, this aircraft, it had a mismatched nose cone for a very short amount of time, and then, you know, eventually it was put back on with the regular radome. But again, this is just a very common thing in the industry. I remember Southwest does this all the time where maintenance doesn't really care if the part matches the livery. They just put it on so the aircraft can get back in service and back to making money. But once the part that is taken off is repaired, or they do find a matching piece, they'll put it back on. But yeah, this is the Sun Country livery as well right here. Again, you might be wondering why I didn't make a version with split scimitars, even though Skymarks already has a model with split scimitars. As far as I'm aware, I have not found a reg where they actually had the new livery plus splits, even though Skymarks made a model of it yet. I presume at some point they will, but until then, I'm going to leave them with blended winglets because I think this is just an awesome look anyways. But can't wait to see these with splits. I see these liveries all the time whenever I visit Mateo in Minneapolis. And, you know, it's just a really cool livery. Sun Country really knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. And, yeah. And before I forget, I just want to kind of bring up a little history about this livery. In case you guys weren't aware, Sun Country did like a public poll for their employees and people to kind of guess, not really guess, but pick which 4 variations of this livery they wanted to. They had one where the entire fuselage was like all orange, and they had one where there wasn't any orange in the tail. It was really cool because they let the customers and the employees like pick their branding for the airline, and that's really cool that they let them do that. But yeah, I believe that's pretty much it for today's video. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Smack the like button for more Minecraft content like this in the future. Feel free to comment down below suggestions and everything else. I know based off YouTube analytics, not a lot of people make it to this part in the video, but just so we're kind of clear, a lot of you guys have been requesting things such as tutorials and downloads. Right now, like, tutorials really aren't in mind because, like, let me just, like, get to the ground. These aircraft are much bigger than the previous airplanes we built in. This is in 3:1, whereas I used to build in 2:1, 1.5:1, and even 1:1. So because of that, these tutorials would take an absurd amount of time to record as well as film, and I don't want to really like to go through all of that or put you guys through that. So maybe later we'll make a download or something, but as of now, tutorials aren't on the immediate horizon. So my apologies about that, but just want to make sure you guys are aware. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I already did most of the outro part. So anyways, I'm Jordan. I will see you in the next episode.